In this lesson, we're going to model the details underneath the rear end of the car. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and go to our back view, and I'm going to use a shape. I'm going to grab this line right here, and I'm going to start right at this point, and I'm going to drag straight across. Now you'll notice that this line is appearing as though it's geometry, and the reason that it's doing that is because I have some settings set up here. Let's go ahead and right click and let's set those up. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to go to your rendering and you'll need to check enable in viewport. This will allow you to choose radial or rectangular, and this is going to be the type of geometry that it's going to create from that line. So under the rectangular, I'm going to set my length to 0.5 and my width to 0.5. Okay, and then we're going to make sure that the initial type of everything is a corner, so that way we can create nice straight lines as we go along here. And that's really all that we need at this point. So let's go ahead and left click right here in the center again, and then we'll hold shift, we'll drag that out to here, and then we're going to drag it out to this point. Okay, and then in our left view, if we hit L on the keyboard, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit F3 so I can see through that. I'm going to hold shift, I'm going to drag it straight out, and it's going to create this L shape. Then right click, and this is what you'll be left with. So now let's grab our move tool and let's pull that line to the back edge of our car. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and go to modify, and I'm going to go to the vertex mode. Select this bottom vertex here in the corner and pull that in. Hit F3 so you can see your reference image, and you'll see that that has been built out. So now we have this shape. You'll notice here that for some reason that created that L in the wrong direction. It created that vertex in the wrong direction. So let's go to our back view. Let's pull that across in the X direction, just like that. Let me hit F3. And I'm going to try to get these to overlap as closely as possible. And then we'll go to our left view, and that should be right there. Okay. Not really sure why it did that, but now we have our shape. All right, so there is our rectangle. Okay, we've got that shape ready to go. Now at this point, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get the shape that I'm looking for on this part. I need to kind of straighten up some of the angles of this. So really quickly, what we'll do is we'll convert this over to editable poly. But before I do that, I need to get a couple of curves in this. So I'm going to select this vertex right here, and I'm going to use a tool called Fillet. What Fillet is going to do is it's going to split the vertex that I have selected into two more. So if I hit F3, you can see that. And so it splits it and it starts to curve that out. Go ahead and take your fillet amount to 2.0. If you need to, if you don't want to drag it like I was doing, you can just simply type in 2.0 and hit enter, and you'll get that same angle. You'll also want to do it for this corner right down here at the bottom. Instead of using 2, let's use 1 on that one because it's a smaller angle. Perfect. So now we have this new element in here. Okay, and it looks pretty good, but there's a couple of things that I want to change about it really quickly. First thing is that from my left view, you can see that it's sticking out here pretty far. So I'm going to actually take all of those vertices in that. I'm going to move them to the left a little bit. Okay, so that way it kind of matches up with this point right here. I'm also going to take just this one point here and pull that back a little bit. Try to get that to straighten up on that edge. Then what we can do is we can go ahead and convert it to an editable poly. And that will allow us to work with this in more of a polygon type manner. Let's go ahead and take the polygons on the ends of this and delete those. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to go to border mode, and I'm going to select this border right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this soft selection, and I'm going to check use soft selection, and I'm going to draw my fall off down until I get a color that looks like this. So it's going to move this set of edges that I have selected at full strength, but then it's gradually going to move anything that's colored above that at a more lower rate. So it gives us this gradual twist. So let's do something around 5 on that. Then let's go ahead and grab our rotation tool and let's rotate this. But before we do that, let's turn off our angle snap. Let's rotate it a little bit. Go to our back view, hit V and then K. And if you hit F3, you can see how that's rotating like that. Okay. And you know, I'm going to actually hit Control Z a couple of times. Let me take my rotation up just a little bit higher, and then let's rotate it. Well, I don't really like the way that it's rotating that. Let me try something a little bit different. Let me rotate it a little bit more. I see what's going on. Let's switch this over to view instead. Then let's rotate it. And you'll see that it begins to twist that bottom edge, okay, giving us the path that we desire out of that. All right, so that's going to work for me. All right, so there's that piece. Now, what we want to do at this point is we want to go ahead and apply a turbo smooth to that, so that way it smooths out nice and neat. Let's go ahead and add that. So turbo smooth, give it, let's say, 3 iterations, isoline display, and then let's go to editable poly, show end result. Turn on edge mode. Let's turn off that soft selection. And let's go to edit swift loop and add a loop here at the top. Control Alt and drag that edge a little bit closer. Do the same thing here along the bottom. And then you'll need to do this across the top edge of that, so that way we get this nice square looking edge. Okay, and you'll need to do that across the bottom as well, so don't forget about that. Let's do one right there. Okay, so you should have something that looks kind of like this. Okay, now you'll notice that it's not really meeting with the rest of our car for some reason. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's see if we can't get this to line up a little bit better. It looks like maybe we didn't come down quite far enough on this guy. So if I go to vertex mode, let me actually take this and pull it down a little bit further. Kind of like that. That's looking better. Everything else is looking pretty good. I like the thickness of it. I just need to match up the rest of the car to it. So let's go to vertex mode, show end result, and let's pull that to the edge on that. And then let's add a little bit more thickness to this area. Now we're not going to forget about this other detail here, but I want to really make sure that I get this little lip where the car is actually going to create a seam whenever it butts up against this detail. So let's go to edge mode. Let's select these edges, okay, that basically go right around the edge of this, including this edge right here. And what we'll do is we're going to hold down shift and we're going to drag that out just a little bit, okay, and then we'll hold shift again and drag it out a little bit more. So with that small edge, what that's going to do is it's going to tighten up that a little bit more. Now it's going to have kind of a loose edge. It's not going to be as tight as between like the panels of the car, because it is folded under a little bit. Okay, we do need to come in and modify some of the shapes though. As you can see, it's not holding all of the shape there. So let's add a loop in here. Let's add a loop right across here. I'm going to hold Control Alt and drag that down. So that's going to start to come together there. And then I'm going to deselect around, oops. I'm going to deselect around these edges and then just take these vertices. And let's make sure that our edge constraint is turned on. And let's pull that up toward the middle between those polygons. And in our left view, let's simply push it back to the left a little bit. Let's take these, pull those up, and pull those to the left a little bit. Well, I'll just leave them right where they're at for right now. There we go. So you should get something that looks like that. Also, I need to add a loop. Looks like right about here. So that way it kind of hardens up that edge. And then also right here, Control Alt, let's drag that to the very edge there. That'll harden that up. And let's go to our back view again. And let's go to edge mode. And I may want to add one more edge right here. But I think I'm going to wait on that for just a little bit. Let's actually take all of these edges right here and pull those. Oops. Let's not grab anything in the back there. Let's pull this down just a little bit more. Let's turn off that edge constraint. Pull that down a little bit, kind of like that. All right. Maybe even pull that in. Try to get that to round out a little bit more, kind of follow along with that shape. Now I still feel like it's not butting up there. It's got quite a bit of a gap, okay, and it's just not fitting with the rest of this. And actually, you can see that this curve is just not coming in far enough. So I'm going to bring it in, okay, just like that, and that's going to start to fit a little bit better. And then let's go to our back view. Let's take this top set of vertices here. Let's pull those straight up until it meets that edge. And then I'm just going to grab these and I'm going to pull those out just like that. Okay, just give it a little bit more thickness. Let's make sure that we grab all of those. So it'll look something kind of like that. Just a very minor tweak there. But now you can see that that piece is now fitting up against this very well. Now I do want to take these vertices right here. Let me pull those back just a little bit more until it meets that edge. And now this is starting to really come together right down here at the bottom. Okay, so now we have that part set up. Now what I want to do is I want to come in and get the second part of that detail. So we're going to finish up modeling the underneath portion here, at least the plastic parts of this, and then we'll start moving on, separating out the different panels and adding some thickness to all of those and separating them out and then adding some of our final details.